Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from the New York Times. Now, this was published on the 22nd of October, written by Alicia Hardasani Gupta. Okay. Now, look at the title here. I mean, this is a complete opinion piece. But do they mark it as opinion? No. It's in her words. It's an opinion piece. How an aversion to masks stems from toxic masculinity. This has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. See, they got to chalk up the fact of resistance to the left's going, you have to wear a mask, to being toxic masculinity. It can't be the fact of people, regardless of gender, male or female. I'm sorry, don't want to upset the lefties, regardless of biological sex, because they believe there's 76 genders. Okay, but regardless of biological sex, male or female, are saying fuck you on the masks. Because both women and men are saying fuck you on the mask, but it's toxic masculinity. Makes no sense to me, but hey, we got a lefty supposed expert here trying to push this bullshit. A narrow idea of invincibility and invulnerability traps most men in images of ourselves that have failed most of us, argues the author, Anand Giridharadas. Okay? Which basically, this is, I believe, a fucking broad. Okay? With the name, it might not necessarily be a giveaway, but I believe it's a broad. And she's supposedly some fucking expert on men and this fallacy of toxic masculinity, which I find funny because a woman claiming to be an expert on fucking men is a joke. Women are from Mars, men are from Venus, or whatever that fucking book's title is, okay? Yet she wants to be an expert on men and toxic masculinity. She's got no fucking clue about men or masculinity, but she's supposedly an expert on both. At least I believe it's a woman. There has been and if it isn't a woman, it's a soy boy who's got no clue on either. There has been a very dominant strain of men who clearly feel that wearing a mask would so expose their vulnerability that they would rather risk death from the virus. No, that's not what it is. They look at the fact of the situation. They look at the fact of what's being reported, the CDC's own numbers, a 95 to 99% survival rate, okay? And they look at the fact of, I'm not going to fucking, put my life on hold, wrap myself in cotton, and live like a fucking idiot. That's what it comes down to. And if you want to call that toxic masculinity, you're an idiot. But Anand Giridharadas, or whatever his name is her name is the author of Winner Take All, The Elite Charade of Changing the World. So she is a woman. In her words, all right, no, wait a minute. In her words, available as a newsletter, sign up here, blah, 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 blah. So I'm assuming it's a woman when it's on this section of In Her Words. When President Trump returned to the White House on October 3, after spending 3 days hospitalized with beer virus at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, he stepped out onto the balcony and ripped off his face mask to greet supporters. He was sending a clear signal. He had gone to war with a ruthless enemy and come out unscathed, still standing strong. Okay, and how is that toxic masculinity to show, hey, I beat this virus, all right? I'm fine. And to take off his mask on a balcony with no one around him in the great outdoors. You wanted him to wear a mask outside with no one around him. And you're trying to say that because he didn't, it was toxic masculinity. You are retarded. Like short bus riding, hockey helmet wearing, bashing your head into the fucking window. Retarded. Idiot. This broad's an idiot. I'm better and maybe I'm immune, I don't know. But don't let it dominate your lives, he said in a video later that day, minimizing the danger of the virus that has now killed more than 220,000 Americans. Okay, with a 95 to 99% survival rate. He said, okay, look, I survived it. Don't wrap yourself in cotton. Don't let this put your lives on hold. That's not a bad thing. He wasn't minimizing the danger. And how are you saying, okay, that with a 95 to 99% survival rate, all right, which it goes to 95 at like 70 above. It's like 99 before that, 99 and change. 99 point whatever, okay? You try to make it sound like this is killing everybody when almost everybody's surviving. You're the ones that are hyping up the danger, and he shows the actual true results of it. And you don't like that. So you got to label it as toxic masculinity. The same day, when Democratic presidential nominee Joseph R. Biden Jr. posted a video of himself on Twitter wearing a face mask, the Fox News host Tommy Lauren suggested that he carry a purse with that. Honestly, Tommy Lauren, she isn't Fox anymore, is she? I don't think she is. I don't think she's like on part of Fox. She might be a contributor, she might have been on, but I don't think she's a part of Fox. I could be wrong, but I haven't really seen her on it. And so what if she said that? She's giving him shit. He's virtue signaling, and she's calling out his virtue signaling, and you got a problem with that. Okay? The implication, no strong, powerful man will resort to wearing a mask. That's not what she was doing. He's acting like a little bitch. It's not about the fact of being strong or powerful. He's playing it up for the cameras, and she was basically calling it out. The mask wearing has become such a gendered issue. Bullshit. All right. That mask wearing has become such a gendered issue isn't surprising for public health researchers. A 2016 paper by Los Alamos National Laboratory found that men are less likely than women to adopt protective behaviors like washing hands, social distancing, and wearing masks. Well, considering those things were not a concern in 2016, I call bullshit. Maybe the hand washing, that's about it. Okay, because social distancing is a new normal thing. All right, they weren't thinking about that back then, so I call bullshit on your on this here, Gupta. Okay, and this idea of wearing masks, same thing, part of the new normal. So I highly doubt that they were looking at that. And the idea of washing hands. Do you want to know why men don't wash their hands like you would like them to? It's because we're dirty fucking creatures. It has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that we're dirty fucking creatures. Okay? And you trying to literally create bullshit here that Los Alamos looked into hand washing, social distancing, and mask wearing when that was never a thing. Maybe the hand washing, they looked into, but the other ones, they didn't. I'll call bullshit on that one. And for you to try to use that, do this bullshit fucking thing of saying that they did and trying to equate this all here makes you a sleazy, dishonest person. Okay, and I know plenty of women who won't and do not want to wear masks. So it's not a gendered issue. Hell, I know women that are more adamant about not wearing masks than me. What are you going to say? They're fucking men with tits? Because they ain't chicks with dicks. I mean, seriously, you are lying out your ass here. Because in 2016, they're not checking on social distancing and mask wearing because it was not a fucking thing. More recently, 3 different studies published this summer by Cambridge University Press arrived at the same conclusions. Oh, I'm sure they did. Masculine toughness is consistently related to higher negative feelings and lower positive feelings about mask wearing, noted the authors of one of those studies conducted in June. Oh, how convenient. One of those authors just basically pulled this shit out of their ass, okay? Because masculine toughness is consistent with regular to high negative feelings. No, it has nothing to do with masculinity. It has to do with the fact of, I'm looking at the fucking actual cases, I'm looking at everything, and I'm going, well, shit, okay? I'm also looking at the fact that University of Minnesota CIDRAP, CIDRAP, they had a thing that your people tried on the left, tried to censor, where they went through all the studies and found that masks don't do shit. Okay, I'm looking at stuff like that. I'm looking at the survival rate, and it has nothing to do with masculinity. It has to do with common fucking sense. It has to do with the fact that I am clearly more intelligent than you. All right, and I don't think I'm some fucking rocket surgeon. I just have common fucking sense, besides a little bit of intelligence. It has nothing to do with masculine toughness. This particular image of masculinity, which hinges on muscular strength, has in fact been a through line of the president's leadership style. He has characterized everything from trade relations with China and disarmament negotiations with North Korea to budget negotiations with Congress in confrontational and mano terms. So wait a minute. So not being a soy boy cuck and actually standing up and fighting for something is toxic masculinity now? Are you kidding me? Him not rolling over to China or North Korea or allowing Nancy fucking Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to bend him over and fuck him up the ass is toxic masculinity. Get bent, you stupid bitch. Gupta. Seriously, go back. All right, your family clearly came here to provide you a better fucking life. Because I'm assuming that you were born here with a name like Alicia. At least that's, if memory serves, that's your name. Because I'm not going to scroll back up. You're Americanized. Go live in fucking India, you dumb bitch. Seriously. See what it's like to live there. Because you try to make it sound like, oh, toxic masculinity. You want to see true toxic fucking masculinity. Go live in India. Seriously. You want to see actual toxic masculinity. Go look at what your family left. You stupid bitch. Holy shit. This broad is fucking numb. But the president's strong exterior hides weakness, argues Anand Giridharadas, or whatever the hell that name is, the author of Winner Take All, The Elite Charade of Changing the World. He is a weak man who has always longed to be a strong man. He is a weak man's idea of a strong man. Mr. Giridharadas, so it's a dude, wrote in a recent article for his newsletter, The Ink. Well, slight problem. If what you were claiming were true, he would not be a successful businessman. He would not have succeeded and won the presidency. Because you have to be a strong man, an alpha male, to get ahead to the levels of someone like him. Nice try, though. In her words, caught up with Mr. Giridharadas to dig deeper into the notion of masculinity and how it relates to American systems and institutions. The conversation has been edited for length and clarity. You wrote in your newsletter, The Ink, that President Trump removing his mask at the White House balcony was a show of toxic masculinity. Explain. I grew up in America, and having lived through this culture, I recognized in the fear and false bravado the same men who threw me into lockers at school. You got some serious mental issues if you literally looked at dudes bullies throwing you in the locker and are equating it to this shit. Get some fucking help. From the beginning of the pandemic, there have been an aversion to basic common sense protections, wearing masks, observing social distancing, and embracing government-imposed lockdowns that has done a poor job of concealing its entwinement with male insecurity. Really? Okay, so let's look at this bullshit here. Okay? Wearing masks. When you have Fauci flip-flopping on wearing masks, when you have the experts flip-flopping on it, when you have experts flip-flopping on social distancing, which they have, okay, you want them to just shut up and accept whichever way the wind's blowing at that particular time and just deal with it and be happy? Because that's what you're kind of saying here. And this idea of the government, of embracing government-imposed lockdowns. Fuck you, because you know what? As a libertarian, which I know plenty of female libertarians, okay, and they say the same thing, fuck you on that. You try to say that's toxic masculinity to not accept the state telling you that they're going to fucking remove your rights that they do not have the power to do because they're inalienable rights? You're saying we should just shut up and take that? Fuck you. That has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. That has to do everything with freedom. So get bent. And on the note of the lockdowns, if you look at every place that locked down, they're, in most cases, almost every case, a blue Democrat fucking shithole state that has had ridiculous fucking numbers, all right, of infections and deaths, even though they locked shit down. So that kind of destroys your thing of that we should just shut up and accept the lockdowns when they ain't doing a goddamn thing and very well look like they're making things worse. Oh my God. You know what? They should have left this asshole in his locker until he fucking died of starvation or some shit. Probably would have been a favor to the world. I'm not saying that should have literally happened. It's just a, pleasant thought type of idea. A possibility. And this idea of entwinement with male insecurity. Male insecurity leads to accepting the lockdowns, you stupid fuck. If I'm an insecure person, I'm going to let the government lock me down. If I am secure in myself, okay, I'm not going to do that. So you destroyed your own fucking argument there, asshole. Of course, people of all identities have been spouting these things. But there has always been a very dominant strain of men who clearly feel that wearing a mask would so expose their vulnerability that they would rather risk death from the virus than what they perceive as humiliation of not being invincible. So wait a minute. You just destroyed your own argument here again. You're saying that you've seen, everybody doing this. You've seen people of all identities, which means men and women. You've seen men and women doing this, but it's still toxic masculinity. Are you seriously trying to push that here? Wow. And this has nothing to do with humiliation about being, not being invincible either. We look at the fucking science. We look at the actual death, the number of deaths. We look at the survivability. We look at the fact that masks aren't really doing shit. They're more security theater than they are an actual solution to a problem. Because when you've got a virus as small as it is, it can go right through the cloth. Unless you're wearing an N95 mask, which reduces it, a regular mask ain't going to do shit. Yeah, we're supposed to wear them. Yeah, okay. That has to do with humiliation and why we won't. Yeah, okay. In my piece, I quoted Robert O'Neill, the former Navy SEAL, who tweeted a maskless photos of himself on a Delta flight captioned, "I'm not a..." Vulgar slang for female genitals. So he said I'm not a pussy. Pussy is not vulgar slang for female genitals. It's not, all right, twat, maybe a little vulgar. Snatch, maybe a little vulgar. See you next Tuesday? Vulgar. Pussy really isn't that vulgar. So he says he's not a pussy and you don't like that. So he's not a soy boy. See, you think that soy boy is positive masculinity. Soy boy has no masculinity to them. But anyway, so I'm not a pussy, but I don't think he's the only person to think that. I've seen the phrase come up repeatedly with masks. There's something so profound and awful there. Why? Because saying I'm not a pussy because I'm not going to buy into the bullshit that's been proven bullshit. 99% survival rate. I'm not going to be a pussy and wear a mask. Fuck you. Seriously. You think that's toxic masculinity? Well, you are a pussy. That's why you got thrown in your fucking locker. You dumb fuck. Because you were a pussy. Because you were a little weaselly, slimy little shitbag pussy. And guys did not like dealing with you because of it. So they threw you in a fucking locker. If you were a fucking normal person and not a pussy punk bitch, okay, they wouldn't have thrown you in your fucking locker and you wouldn't be so emotionally scarred from it that you've got this quest to wipe out toxic masculinity. You sad little sorry bitch. Seriously. What is it in America's culture, as you mentioned, that has filled so many men with this kind of anxiety you described? It's not anxiety. Holy shit. We are not anxious. There's no anxiety involved. Wow. They're literally putting the emotional states of men in their lives that have no place in there, that are not how they're feeling. They are literally creating shit out of thin air on how men are feeling to push this bullshit. What is our society teaching men? It is teaching men that the only way to have dignity is not to be a woman, not to be weak, not to be gay. Always hit first and never present yourself as vulnerable or in need. So, okay, this guy gave it away. He's gay. Okay? He has a lot of deep-seated and rooted issues. And this is those issues coming out. Okay? And that, all right, well, if you want to have dignity as a man, okay, you shouldn't be acting like a bitch. You should be acting like a man. You should be acting like an adult. Okay? If that's toxic masculinity in your eyes, I'm not going to argue that point with you because it's not even going to be worth arguing because you're never going to fucking understand the concept that it isn't. I could sit there and explain it for hours until I'm blue in the face and give you example after example of how it isn't, and you would still try to push that it is. Okay. And this idea not to be weak, it's not about not to be weak, okay? The way that you're looking at it and the way you're trying to portray it, okay? This idea of being strong, all right, has nothing to do with physical strength. It has to do with mental and emotional strength. Because you are supposed to be the rock, okay, as a man. Because biologically, that's how we're wired. Okay, and you want us to change that. We are biologically wired to be the rock. We are biologically wired to be the one that's going to be there to be leaned on, okay, to provide for our family, to be the protector, to be the, like I said, provider, but the protector as well. Okay, we're there to make sure that nothing wrong comes to those we love, to our families, to our children, to our spouses. And you're trying to make that, okay, this idea of not be weak, okay, because if you do those things, that's not, you're trying to portray that as that's toxic masculinity. That's not that's not toxic masculinity, okay? That's not, a thing about being weak or not. But you're too ignorant, too stupid to get it. And this idea of always hit first, excuse me, asshole, like most men, I was raised, you don't start a fight, but you sure as shit finish it. That has nothing to do with swinging first. It's if you get swung on, you swing back and you make sure that motherfucker gets put down. You finish the fight. No man is taught to swing first. But I'm sure, okay, where you gave away that you're gay, all right, that I'm sure you swang first like a catty little bitch. And then you went, oh, that's toxic masculinity. Oh my God, I got to change myself. No, that's you being a catty bitch. That's something a woman would do. So stop acting like a fucking woman and blaming it on masculinity. Just saying. Okay, and this never present yourself as vulnerable or in need is complete bullshit. Okay, you can still be the rock. You can still be the center. You can of the family. You can be the person they lean on and still be able to show that you are vulnerable. Okay, and that at times you are in need. You can still do that. That has nothing to do with toxic masculinity. You can still do that and be a man. Show that you are vulnerable. The idea of showing that you're vulnerable to people that could possibly take advantage of that situation is a different story. You show that you're vulnerable to those people that are in your inner circle, okay? Whether they are friends, whether they're your family, your spouse, all right? Maybe not your children because you want your children to see that you're strong. You want to put on a good act for them. You technically at times also want to put on a good act for your family because you're there to make sure, okay, that they are okay. And if you want to say that's toxic masculinity, okay, by sucking it up and dealing with that, you're a shitbag. Because if men did that more, sucked it up and did what they had to do, okay, we'd have less fucking soy boys like you. This dominant way of teaching men leads to the epic amounts of abuse and assault that women face. Bullshit! Bullshit! Where's your proof? Show me some fucking proof that men being actual men, okay, leads to epic amounts of abuse and assault that women face. Bullshit. Where's your proof? And it actually doesn't really work for most men. Bullshit. It traps most men in images of ourselves that have failed most of us and that don't fit our lived inner experience. Well, just because you're a fagula, okay, whose lived experience is more fucking woman than it is man, does not reflect on the rest of your fucking gender, asshole. It doesn't work like that. Holy shit, this guy is like retarded. I think he choked on too much dick and fucking killed some brain cells. But is that uniquely American? I think the expectation of invulnerability in men is quite universal. But the idea of freedom from is an American obsession. Freedom from the government and so on, but freedom too to be able to eat or pursue your dreams. We're much blinder in those types of freedoms, which political philosophers call positive freedom. Whoa. So this asshole is trying to call inalienable rights fucking toxic masculinity. Are you kidding me? Because that's what he's saying here. Freedom from the government. Inalienable right. The power, the Constitution, okay, limits the power of government. Okay? The inalienable rights in the Constitution allow for you to have the pursuit of happiness. Okay? And he's trying to chalk that up to toxic fucking masculinity. Well, if you don't like it, asshole, get the fuck out of the United States. That's simple. You can get the fuck out of the country, dude. And you try to change this, okay, because they're able to pursue your dreams, which we're much blinder to those types of freedoms. No, we're not. I'm not, as a libertarian. And this idea of which political philosophers call positive freedom, because they are positive freedoms. They are inalienable rights. So you can't infringe on them, but you don't care. I think that freedom from obsession results in this feeling that government is emasculating, because it is. If you have someone telling you what you can and can't do, okay, as a man, that is fucking emasculating. Okay? As a woman being told what you can and can't do, like you say, my woman, my body, my choice. If the government, you got a problem with that? But the government going and telling a man he can't do something that goes against his, goes against traditional masculinity or whatever. Holy shit. It is emasculating. You are taking away the things that make them a man. If you are taking away the things that make someone a man, or make a man, that is literally the definition of emasculating, you dumb fuck. My language is fucking atrocious. I really don't care. I turn off the filters with this because I go completely unedited. In the real world, I don't talk like this. But this is some seriously fucked up shit. I really don't care. Oh my God. The common sense exertion of public institutions to protect people makes many American men feel weakened, as though faceless bureaucrats are doing for their family what they may feel like they should be doing for their family instead. No, it's not about that. Holy fucking shit. Dude, okay? You are talking out your ass. You have basically admitted you are gay, that you have no experience in this shit, that you are a fucking, like effeminate little fucking fagula. Okay, and I'm not meaning that in a derogatory way, but you are. You are gay. Okay, you are effeminate. And you are talking about toxic masculinity. You have no experience with masculinity because you're not masculine. Okay? And this idea of, American men feel weakened when they're being told that they can't do certain things, when they are literally being told that it's toxic and shit like that, and the government's trying to dictate to them, of course men are going to have a fucking problem with that, unless they're a soy boy bitch or a gay, a feminine gay like you. Seriously. And it's not about the bureaucrats doing for their family, because the bureaucrats aren't doing shit for their family. Okay? And you don't understand that. Okay? If they've got a problem with the bureaucrats doing this shit, it's because it goes against their best interests and the best interests of their family. You asshole. Does this kind of masculinity underpin American institutions too? Yes, I think it does. All right, I should be doing this in the appropriate voice. Yes, I think it does. When I look at the kind of business models that have undergirded our economy, it does seem to intersect with male excess and an economy of toxic masculinity. Oh, Jesus. No, that's not what it does, but hey, whatever. You've got plenty of women in that environment, and you're trying to say it's toxic masculinity, but these women are cutthroat bitches who would put men to shame. Fuck you. What feels very thrilling about this moment is that we are at a moment of real reckoning with three interlocking supremacies: white supremacy, male supremacy, and capital supremacy. So this guy is a commie, okay? He's got a problem with men and white, this fucking bullshit fucking thing of white supremacy. This systemic white supremacy bullshit. Does he not realize that the poster child, de facto leader of the alt-right endorsed Joe Biden? Does he realize that? Because Richard Spencer endorsed Biden. And this idea of like three supremacies. Okay, so basically the boogeyman, The bride of Boogeyman and the son of Boogeyman is what we're dealing with. With this little asshole's bullshit. These things work together, and what they have in common is dehumanization and the centering of aggressors' point of view instead of those who most need our support and attention. So you want communism, you basically want soy boys, okay? And you basically want this idea of, like, whites being treated like shit and calling it, saying, well, it ain't racist because there's no such thing as reverse racism. With your name, that's pretty fucking clear. The fact that you're gay, you're like Carlos Maza from The Sound of Things, it's pretty clear that's what your plan is here. I mean, they bring in this man who ain't a man, who's just a Sally boy, little fucking, cocksucker, who loves the men. And they say he's an expert on masculinity. The guy has never lived a masculine day in his life. Okay? I'm almost positive he's the catcher. All right? He's not the pitcher in the relationship. He's the catcher. And he's some expert on masculinity. Okay. And this idea of, masculinity is dehumanizing. Male supremacy, like the masculinity, because that's what he's calling it, is complete bullshit. You trying to emasculate men, calling it what they're doing toxic masculinity, okay? That is dehumanizing. That goes against the very nature of what that biological drive of a man. Okay, because, the things that they do that are normal are toxic all of a sudden. You're an idiot. Anyway, we saw this week some men ridiculing on Twitter an image of Joe Biden hugging and kissing his son Hunter. What do you make of that reaction? That's not what oh my God. So they were basically joking about Hunter and Joe, creepy Uncle Joe, which I'm almost positive they were kind of doing like the idea of, creepy Uncle Joe with it. And they're trying to say, toxic masculinity. They were making fun of him. No, they were making fun of the fact that the father's a fucking pervert who can't keep his hands to himself with small fucking children. 99.9% chance of what that was. And you're trying to twist it here. I was heartened to see that Joe Biden loves his son, and visibly given all the family he has lost, I can understand the tight grip with which he holds what he has left. Or it could be that tight grip is because he wants to make sure that he gets his cut on all the fucking deals that he set up through Hunter. Just a thought. What we learned this week is that a picture of a father loving his son can be terrifying to the legions of men in this country whose narrow vision of masculinity is that it consists of being independent to the point of isolation. That's not what went on, okay? I saw some of it. I didn't see all of it, but all of it, of what I saw was basically people making fun, of creepy Uncle Joe on the fact that he can't keep his hands to himself. It was plays on that. It wasn't the fact that he was hugging and kissing his son. It was the fact that he can't keep his kids' hands off of children that led to a lot of the fucking comments. But hey, whatever. You want to fucking revise history, and expect no one to call you out. Sorry, that ain't going to happen. The whole episode is a reminder of a culture of toxic masculinity that trains so many men to turn their senses of vulnerability into a fraudulent performance of strength and their own wounds from being unloved, or not letting themselves be loved, into a desire to hurt those who take pride in giving love. So I'm wondering if the reason why he got locked in his locker was because he was trying to give love to other men. Sounds like he's still got some deep-seated, issues with that whole situation. I'm guessing he tried to give love to other men and they went, sorry, dude, I'm not gay, and locked him in his fucking locker. Holy shit. And this idea that, that's not what this was about. They were making fun of him. You try to take what they were doing as literally attacking him when they were making fun of him because he's fucking a pervert who can't keep his hands to himself, who most likely diddled his own son, which is why the 14-year-old fucking niece, is naked in pictures with Hunter Biden while he's smoking fucking crack. How much do you want to bet when he's naked and she's naked in the picture and he's smoking a big fat fucking rock, he just fucking raped his niece? Because that's kind of what is being hinted at that. Because there's no reason for her to be naked and him to be naked while he's smoking a fucking crack rock, unless he just raped the shit out of her. You don't call out Hunter's toxic masculinity. You don't call out Joe Biden's toxic masculinity. That's actually toxic. You know, like the inappropriately touching children and shit, which actually isn't masculinity at all, but you don't call out their proclivities. No, you call out stupid bullshit. You would win more people over if you tried to label their touchy-feely bullshit as toxic masculinity than normal fucking things, you degenerate moron. But it has nothing to do with being unloved or letting themselves be loved. You're an idiot. It has been noted several times by the media and by academics that countries with female leaders, Taiwan, Germany, New Zealand, have handled the pandemic better. Do you think toxic masculinity incompatible with crisis management? Now, this is what's fucked up, okay? Let's bring up Taiwan. Taiwan had nothing to do with the fact it was a female fucking leader. It had to do with the fact of, unlike the rest of the fucking world, you degenerate dipshits, Gupta and fucking Shipwreck here, they said, hey, hello, world community, China's fucking lying. Hello, we locked our shit down, and they literally stopped the virus from getting into their country except for a few cases that they blocked off, and they've kept everyone out of their fucking, they've kept people from coming into their country that could spread the shit. So they got the few people, okay, that were infected, and they had locked shit down. That has nothing to do with a female fucking leader, okay? Now, Germany, okay, female leader, okay, you want to bring up the whole female leader fucking thing. You had a psychopathic, power-tripping bitch who locked shit down, who went fucking overkill. And they still had massive spread. That kind of defeats your fucking thing there. New Zealand? Oh, you mean the gun-grabbing psycho bitch who's an authoritarian psycho fuckwit. Yeah, that's another great fucking example, okay? Because you're talking about toxic masculinity, and you're bringing up countries, okay, with the exception of Taiwan here, okay? You are bringing up countries that have power-tripping fucking psycho fucking women, okay, who literally try to show that they have bigger fucking balls than men. And you want to talk about toxic masculinity? These women went full fucking authoritarian, which you would think if it was a man doing it, you'd call it toxic masculinity, which you would. But a woman does it. Oh, strong woman. Bang, toxic masculinity, positive thing. You people are idiots. We can speculate that those women are outperforming men because there's something different about how women leaders in general see the world. Oh my God, they're not outperforming men. They are not outperforming men. Go look at New Zealand and the fucking support that their leader has, that dumb bitch has, the gun-grabbing psycho wench. Her popularity's in the fucking toilet, you stupid fuck. Oh yeah, she did such a great job that she drove her popularity into the fucking toilet. That's a sign of positive results, isn't it? Germany, same thing. Jesus H. Christ. Idiots. Another possibility is that in patriarchal societies, it remains much harder for a woman to get to the top, and so when a woman gets to the top, she's 3 times better. No, she's usually trying to compensate, okay, and try to, through being a psycho wench, convince men that she's got a bigger dick than they do, that she's got bigger balls than they do. They turn authoritarian. Fucking Merkel was one of the most authoritarian psycho fucking wenches. And what even made it even worse is this bitch was a fucking Kool-Aid drinking fucking commie before the fall of the Berlin Wall. She learned authoritarianism from that shit. Oh, women, they do it better because, no, they're not doing it better. They're just trying to be more toxic, or what you're calling toxic masculinity, or trying to label as such. They're just more toxic and authoritarian and psychotic and have issues with inadequacy. See, they try to push this idea that men have inadequacy issues when it's these women who have it. This is ridiculous shit. Thank God we're almost through it. Oh my God. Like Jacinda Ardern, my guess is she did it she didn't just become good when the beer virus struck. My guess is she had to be 3 times as talented as many of the cruisers and flunkies around her to even have a shot at being taken seriously. Oh no, she didn't go full fucking authoritarian. Oh no, what I think is funny is you notice they ain't bringing up, say, Whitmer, for example. Because Whitmer is beyond fucking toxic. Okay, that bitch has tried to say, I got bigger, in her Midwestern kind of twang, I've got bigger balls than you. Fuck the Constitution. Fuck all of it. I'm going to do what I want. Which is kind of what these female leaders they're bringing up did. And they want to leave that out. They're trying to repaint fucking history here. It is also about lived experiences. In a properly constituted society, women wouldn't do disproportionate amounts of childcare work, but in the society they do. Excuse me? Okay. Hey, asshole. Men contribute to the household. They help raise the children. They help take care of the children. They change their fucking diapers. They feed their children. You're trying to make it sound like men don't do these things ever, at all. And that women do it all. That's completely dishonest and sleazy, especially coming from a guy who's basically admitted that he's gay, which would mean that you don't have children, okay? Which means that you wouldn't be in a traditional relationship, and you think you're some fucking expert. You're not. If I wanted to find out, what it felt like to take a dick up the ass, pardon how I put this, then maybe you might be an expert. But I would never go and want to know that. But you would still be the expert. When it comes to masculinity, the family, traditional values, or anything like that, you are not. You're just some poor little shit who kept fucking being a spurg, going full fucking retard, and had guys lock him in his fucking locker for his trouble as a result. Now you're on this one soy boy quest. This one-man soy boy quest to attack and get revenge on those fucking people. That's what this comes down to. And you try to make it sound like men don't do anything to raise their fucking children, and you're a sleazeball, you're a slime bag for doing it. As a result, when you marginalize women from public life or roles in leadership, you are outweighing the experience of the non-primary caregiver. Excuse me? So what? Men just contribute fucking DNA and they're not truly a caregiver for their own fucking children? Fuck you. You are a piece of fucking shit, dude. They are still a primary fucking caregiver for their children, even if you say they aren't. You asshole. You are a waste of space, dude. Your fucking mother should have swallowed and did the world a favor, because the best part of you ran down her inner thigh. Dude, you are a waste of space, seriously. Oh my God. But anyway, for public roles and leadership, all right. As a result, when you marginalize women from public life or roles in leadership, you are overweighting the experience of the non-primary caregiver. So it is an accident that we did bailouts for big corporations before we did any kind of childcare help. What? Excuse me. The reason why we did did the PPP program, you dumb fuck, and gave these companies, which you're saying large corporations, a lot of it did also go to small businesses, was so that they could still pay people for a job they weren't fucking doing, so that they could keep their employees on the payroll. Then you had sleazy companies like Hollywood, one of the studios tried to fucking get some of the money. You had all these other large corporations trying to get the money, but a lot of it went to small businesses. So that they could pay for people. Completely revise the whole PPP thing, you idiot. Slime bag. And this idea of any kind of child care help. Excuse me. When you have all these people at home, Why do they need childcare help? They're at home. They can take care of their own kids. They're not at work. They're not working. They can raise their own fucking children. You got a problem with that? Because that's what it sounds like. Asshole. If there were more women with young children in the Senate, it's hard to think the Senate would make exactly the same decisions and have the same priorities as it does now. Excuse me? Wait a minute. Women with young children. If they're in the Senate, they're not going to be raising their fucking children. You asshole. A nanny is going to be raising their children. They're going to be an absentee parent. You know it, I know it. They're going to be an absentee fucking parent. Yeah, you don't think, okay, because, hey, let's use AOC for example. If AOC popped out a fucking kid tomorrow, do you think she's going to take care of that fucking kid? I mean, mind you, she's in the house, but she's a good example. Hell no. She's going to have a fucking nanny taking care of that child. She ain't going to raise that child. She isn't going to teach that child, the things that it needs in those early years. It'll be some fucking stranger, you asshole. And that's how it would be with most women in the Senate if they had young children. All right, they'd shirk their responsibility because that's a have your cake and eat it too situation. You can't be someone like a politician with small children. Because then you're going to have to choose. Do you want to be a politician or do you want to raise your fucking kids? And if you choose to be a politician, then you're going to pay someone else to raise them. And you're an absentee parent and you're a fucking piece of shit for bringing that child into the world and then deciding your shit comes first over that child. Because when you have a child, okay, your responsibility shifts and that child comes first. But see, that's the problem with feminazism and this concept of toxic masculinity, is they want it so that women can shirk their responsibility after popping a kid out and have their fucking cake and eat it too. It doesn't work like that. Toxic masculinity is a fallacy. You are some dissociative, poor little shitbrick who got shit on because he was a fucking spaz. And you chalked it up to toxic masculinity instead of you being a fucking retard. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here.
If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.